I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and part 2 of the Samsung Galaxy S3 versus Samsung Galaxy Nexus with Jelly Bean. Dogfight starts right now. Part 2 of an epic dogfight battle, but if you're coming into this, be sure to watch part 1 because it really is a challenge between a high-end device that's really ready for consumers and a device that, even though it's running Android 4.1, still has kind of a nerdy Android feel to it. It's going to be a battle between two awesome devices, and this is part 2 of an epic dogfight battle. But before we get into that, between the Galaxy S3 and the Galaxy Nexus with Jelly Bean, some love to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones like this for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you're going to walk out without dealing with rebates. You're going to walk out the door. You don't have to mess with paperwork or waiting 8 to 10 weeks for all those stupid debit cards, which nobody likes those debit cards anyway. At Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. Let's jump right into the camera, or excuse me, the internet here. We covered the camera in part 1. So I have flight stats here. We're going to load up PhoneDog.com on both of these, and I'll show you any differences between the two. So PhoneDog over here, and from PhoneDog on this. Make sure I spelled that right. Trying to do that on camera is actually harder than it looks sometimes when the keyboard is that far away. I'm a little blind too, so that could be part of the problem. Pinch to zoom, very responsive. The page isn't even done loading over here, and you can really see the speed improvements that Jelly Bean brings to the table. And then you have kind of a tab-like browser interface here where I can scroll through pretty easily and see all my different stuff. Nexus 7 I had open earlier, and I can see all the different request desktop sites, save for offline reading type settings. But overall, very responsive here. Both of these displays are close enough in terms of size where you're not really going to lose a lot. 4.65 inches over here, 4.8 inches over here. Not going to be a huge difference if you do a lot of web browsing or watching YouTube videos or doing something of that nature, watching TV shows through Google Play. Obviously, this is a little bit larger display. I feel like this one, even though it's just a little bit larger, I feel like it's a little bit better for media just because it does have a little bit of a size difference to it. And we'll go, actually, let's go back into internet because I want to show you what the pages look like over here. You get a nice preview of where you left off, much like you do on the tab setting over here. And again, transition effects, nice and fast. Now, in part 1, I talked about the Jelly Bean, some of the improvements. Google Now, which check out part 1 if you missed that, and some of the improvements they brought to the table with Project Butter. I want to talk about some of the software stuff over here as well, because this device, the value proposition with the Galaxy S3, and the thing why this is a great consumer device, really lies in the software. They've taken Android 4.0, they kind of supercharged it with what I think are some really neat software applications. I said neat in part 1, I said neat again, I can't believe that. But we'll turn on motion activation, for example. A lot of cool stuff here. Smart Alert is one of my favorites. When that's turned on and you have your phone down on the table, let's say you don't see the notification light, you go to pick it up, and if you have a missed call or a text, the phone will vibrate once. I find that really useful because I'm a little bit crazy about checking my display with as many emails as I get, and I find that to be really beneficial. Pan to move icon is pretty nice. Tilt to zoom is decent, where if you're in the browser, you can tilt back and forth to zoom in and out with your thumbs. Pan to browse image, shake to update, I've used that one from time to time. I love palm swipe to capture. I can take a screenshot pretty easily, and it shows up here in the notifications. I can easily remove that thanks to Ice Cream Sandwich. Big thing for me, and I can't believe this is still not in Jelly Bean, out of the gate you get a battery percentage indicator. That is something that blows my mind that it hasn't been in Android like 18 versions ago with the battery indicator. Having a physical option to enable that, huge to me, because I'm the type of person, I can't tell that that little battery meter actually means 68%. With this, it's really nice. Small things like that I think really make this device a consumer-centric unit, as opposed to this where they're like, well, you know what, Jelly Bean doesn't have it, but if you want to root it, you can get it through some custom ROMs. I mean, that's cool. Like, if that's what you like to do, that's awesome. But I'm saying for the mainstream consumer, rooting is not, despite what you hear, rooting is not common. Lock screen application, shortcuts over here, information ticker. So when I turn the screen off and back on, you'll notice I have some shortcuts down here at the bottom. Those are that, or that is what that is right there. Those are that. Information ticker, camera quick access. When this is turned on, I can press and hold the display on the lock screen, flip it, and it auto activates the camera from the lock screen. Weather's really nice. I like that one. I'm actually going to turn that on right now. And then wake up commands, you can turn these on where it's like, play music. And as soon as you go to the lock screen, it'll auto play music, and that's a pretty cool little feature as well. So it's all about software on the Galaxy S3. A ton of awesome features like that. Another one of my favorites, I don't think I have any videos to show this off. But let's see if I do. I don't know if I have any videos on this. Oh, I do. Okay, that's right, because I took the video earlier in part 1. So we'll come back here. That's pretty brilliant, actually. I can watch picture-in-picture. Another cool feature. If I'm doing something, I can watch the video while I'm text messaging, while I'm doing whatever. I can multitask thanks to the Galaxy S3. Now let's take a look at quadrant standard on both of these devices, because now with Jelly Bean I'm kind of interested to see how this dual-core TI-O map performs. We'll come into apps here and do it on this one as well. Not as fast as the international version, and I will tell you, while it's a slight difference, but still, if you're running the international version and you're looking at the US version, take a look in store. There is a noticeable speed difference. It's not huge. The average consumer is not going to notice it. The average consumer probably isn't switching between the two devices anyway. But if you're coming from international, the quad-core Exynos processor is incredibly smooth. Always been a fan of Exynos. Does a great job since Galaxy S2 was launched internationally, and it continues to do a good job in the international Galaxy S3. Still not bad though. S4 is a nice contender in the processor market. So call quality pretty good on both of these. Earpiece is nice and loud. You get the option over here to turn the earpiece up even louder if you want to from the actual call settings on the display. The real benefit here to me, battery life. This is what I'm noticing. 2,100 milliamp hour battery over here, 1750 over here. And granted, this is HSPA plus 42 megabits per second, but I find that the T-Mobile version and even the LTE versions, a 2,100 milliamp hour battery is long enough to make it, or decent enough to make it through the day with moderate use. Still kind of struggle with this one. 1,750 milliamp hours, still kind of a challenge to make it through a day with moderate to heavy use. If you're going to do this one, I'd recommend the higher capacity 2,000 milliamp hour battery you can buy through some select specialty retailers. It adds a little bit of bulk to it, but it's worth it, and then kind of brings it up to this one. Battery life, the Galaxy S3 is still kind of the champ in that department between these two devices. 4,992 over here, and take this with a grain of salt, not indicative of day-to-day performance, but 4,992, 2,217 over here. But again, keep in mind, take a look at the fluidity over here. Much faster than it was an ice cream sandwich. So keep that in mind. Again, take it with a grain of salt. Now, I actually want to point out a couple of new widgets as well, because you saw that My Music widget, and that's actually a pretty decent, pretty impressive widget. You have a couple of other options as well. You have My Library over here, Play Store, Play Recommendations, and some new things that you didn't see in Ice Cream Sandwich. So I can go to Music Playlist, for example, is what you saw. I can come in here like Play My Library. Actually, I stand corrected. I believe this was the one that was available that I had. Let me make sure this is right. Let's see. Play My Library. Let's just say My Music, which is what I had over there. But again, very clean, and it's all about the fonts and all about the fluidity, and they've finally gotten that. Another option, when I move this around, you notice the apps shift up and down, so it auto moves around to customize to how I want it on the home screen. So that's a pretty cool feature. Calling as well. Here's the phone application on both of these devices so you can see the difference. You got a call log over here. Bear with me, I was using this last night on an airplane when I was on a delay for 3 hours in Los Angeles, so I want to make sure I didn't have any personal phone numbers on there. But we got contacts here, and we'll take a look at Bill Stevenson on both of these just so you can see the difference between stock Android. I don't want to call this fake number, I want to see it. I'll go back into people and do it that way. So stock Jelly Bean over here, ice cream sandwich with TouchWiz, and you can see it's got a nice clean look and feel to it over here. The picture, and then I've got Bill Stevenson's name up here, and then I have the same picture over here, although it's a little bit elongated out. This is Jelly Bean / ice cream sandwich look and feel over here. So all in all, pretty impressive on both fronts. It's really going to depend on the type of software that you prefer. You know, if you're an Android junkie, you like that kind of stock feel, Jelly Bean is going to be awesome for you, and it's really improved, and they made it even better. That's really the cool thing about Jelly Bean. It's faster, it's just more awesome. It's awesomer, if that's even a word, which it's clearly not. But you know what? We're going to run with it in this video. Awesomer. And then over here, we're going to do a speed test really quickly between the HSPA Plus on AT&T that keeps rotating between 3G and HSPA Plus, and the HSPA Plus on T-Mobile. So we're going to load this up just to take a look. Let's see if we can get San Francisco. Begin. And let's just see which one comes on top, just for sake of giggles. But you know, again, more consumer polished over here, coming to a bunch of carriers. There's a good value proposition here with the software. There's going to be a lot of marketing behind this. Galaxy Nexus, very much a niche device, stock Google device. Google's pushing it. Good for Google enthusiasts or Android enthusiasts. Maybe not the best in the world for the mainstream consumer. It still depends on which one is most important to you. The all-around value proposition, which we'll talk about in just a second, 3.84 megabits per second, 3.6 over here. A little bit slower on T-Mobile. I've seen this as fast when I'm at home in Charlotte. I've seen it as fast as 10, 12 megabits per second in a decent area. Over here, 3.84 megabits per second on AT&T. So there's a strong value proposition to be said about both of these devices, but really the winner of the dogfight is the Samsung Galaxy S3. Not by a huge margin, but what I really like about this device, it's consumer friendly, it's got some killer specs, the screen is nice, it's got a great camera, it's just got a great all-around feature set. Combined with TouchWiz, I really think this is something that can take Android to the next level. Obviously, Verizon's been doing this for a long time with the Droid line of devices, and the original Droid did a great job. But I think the Galaxy S3 is polished, it's a good device, sales expectations are off the chart, and it's coming to all 4 of the major US carriers. So I think this is a great opportunity to really push Android ahead in 2012, as opposed to something like this where, yeah, it's a niche device, Jelly Bean's awesome, but it's not necessarily the most consumer-friendly device. Still, love the improvements on Jelly Bean, incredibly fast, really impressed with this in comparison to previous builds of Android, although the winner of the dogfight is the Galaxy S3. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices, so stay tuned. Follow me on Facebook at both Facebook.com/PhoneDog and on my page at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Let me know what you think. You love one of these devices, you hate the other, you think it's cool because they're both Android, you're an iPhone fan, you're a Windows Phone fan, you're a Symbian fan, you're a BlackBerry fan, whatever. I love hearing from all of you. Hit me up at those pages and on Twitter at PhoneDog_Aaron. Vote for your favorite phone as well and PhoneDog's official smartphone rankings at PhoneDog.com/rankings. Thanks so much for watching a dogfight from San Francisco. Hopefully we'll be back home next week and back in the office, so stay tuned for more awesome coverage on both of these devices on PhoneDog.com. We'll see you next time.